All right, cool. We're back once again. My name is Erwin Solis, and here we are trying to get, the what I believe to be the best comedians here in Chicago, trying to get us on the map and all that type of stuff. So I am here joined today with
Bob Keane. How y'all doing? I didn't know that you were looking for the best ones. I can make a couple calls for you if you're looking for the best comics. But
I guess I got the wrong person.
don't worry, I've been around it long enough. I'll point you in the right direction.
Honestly, man, I've only been, I really only started doing open mics about like 2 years ago, so I'm just new into this. But I've only seen you like not that much, but every time I do, it's like I get that sense of like that's what I feel like Chicago comedy is, like that.
Maybe there's a reason we're not that famous yet. I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah, for sure. And also maybe another little bootleg is like I do see you at the open mics a lot, which is not something that you see like too many of the comedians doing around. They might hit like one spot or something like that.
They're booked. That's why. They've got stuff to do. Me, I'm available.
But I mean, I see that as showing love and support and all that stuff. So yeah. I totally appreciate that.
No, the mics are
awesome.
The mics are super important. Like if there's anything like Chicago specific that I think has made so many comics that have come out of here, Kyle Kinane, you can go, Hannibal Buress, a million of them, of course. A lot of it, especially in the last, I'd say 15 to 20 years. Mind you, I've only been doing it 13, but I've been kind of a half comedy nerd before that. And there were about 15, little more years ago, there was very few anything to do stand-up comedy-wise other than the main clubs. Laugh Factory wasn't even here yet. And so just there were a bunch of people that just were like kind of like, I want to start doing this. And there's always been a big improv like the Second City. Before that, the Second City was like the thing. It's like, oh, you're going to Chicago to do comedy, improv, right? And so a lot of people had done that and didn't like it because it's not fun or funny. And so they're like, I want to try this stand-up thing. And so they just started kind of DIY punk rock, putting together like open mics and things at like bars. The main one used to be the Lion's Den, and this was even a little before my time. That like sort of everything. Pete Holmes came out of that scene. I think Kumail Nanjiani. A lot of people are doing big things. So then it sort of proliferated from there. And so for the last, in my experience, I didn't even start in Chicago. I'm from out here, but I moved out to Los Angeles as a musician. Whoops. Become a DJ, kids. So when that hit the rocks out there, I was living right near a club in North Hollywood. That's where I started doing it. And here's how backwards LA is as far as trying to be a new comic in LA. You have to pay to go up.
Oh, I've heard about that, man.
You're not buying a beer. It's not a 1-2 item minimum. You're paying on its face, bald face. No, you have to pay us to let you talk. It's and anyway. So I went from that and that very. I come to Chicago. And the first open mics I'm going up after I'm having to follow Junior Stopka, Kristen Toomey, Danny Callis, just Chris Red, fucking all these fucking killers. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I need to write a little more. So, but what I say all that to say that Chicago, amongst all of the bigger scenes, which it's just LA and New York, really, Austin is a scene.
They're trying to get it.
Well, I wish they would try a little harder. Great rooms in Austin. I lived in Austin for a minute, not before the pandemic. Now the place is kind of overrun with like poor man's Tony Hinchcliffe's, and but they're still great. I'd still love to do shows there, guys. But so in Chicago, it's been a very self-policing kind of like, you can't be a hack. You're gonna catch shit. And it used to be pretty cold-blooded. Now people are like supportive, which is awful. The supportive scenes create soft comics. All right,
that's true. Yep.
Every scene needs a liver, something to filter out.
Yep.
This is fun. If everybody could do it, you would. But like, So anyway, so that ecosystem and having just so many spots and just a city like this, having so many different segregated neighborhoods, you have the opportunity to go to very different audiences on the same bus line.
Yeah.
So it does create well-rounded comics here. Plus, there's lots of available sort of venues and shows outside of the city, Wisconsin, Indiana, that kind of thing, where it's not that far away and their local talent isn't talent. So they love booking Chicagoans if you have a car. So you can get really good here and then edge it out so you're not just some hipster by running the bits by other audiences.
Yeah.
So it's a sort of a perfect storm for creating quality comics.
That's true. Yeah. So you said you started with music. How did you transfer into comedy from there?
Well, I was a bass player, and I went out to LA and realized I don't want to hate music because I got to peek into just a few of the people the type of people I'd be dealing with in that business if I was running with it. And I'm just like, no, I can't do this. And so I lived right up the street from this place, the Ha Ha Comedy Club. And so I started, they had open mics every night. I would too if I was charging the comics to go up, printing free money. But so I just started doing that. And it was sort of I don't want to be in a band anymore because I'm sick of dealing with drummers. Fuck drummers and guitar players. I can't, like, I told people at the time when I'm like, yeah, no, I'm doing stand-up now. They're like, so, but like, when you start another band? I'm like, no.
Where are you starting another
band? No. You see, with stand-up, if a dick joke doesn't get written, it's because I didn't write it. Not because the guitar player was fiddling with his knobs for 2 hours at practice looking for his tone. Or, I don't know, the drummer's counting how many popsicle sticks you spill on the floor. It's so I liked the self-reliance of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was kind of the big jump, but they do have a lot of parallels, like music versus structuring stand-up. But it's just odder time signatures.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, there is a rhythm to both things, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have like top 3 comedians that you might look up to?
Oh, there's way more than that. Frankly, every time somebody posts their bookings for the month, technically I'm looking up to that person. But I mean, as far as all time, like I was the worst kind of open micer when I started because I was a white guy who got into it because he really liked Bill Hicks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those guys are the worst. Thankfully I got bullied out of that pretty quick, or made fun of for being a hack. And so, because Bill Hicks is amazing, but you're not there yet, kid.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're less than 10 years in, yeah, stay off the Bill Hicks.
Oh, yeah,
frankly, after that, mostly, but he was him. But then, like, I mean, other than that, like Doug Stanhope, huge fan of Doug Stanhope, and then you can place anybody, a million people in the third spot. There's Bill Burr, Louis C.K., too many to name. And I'm not nearly as good as any of them, and frankly, I don't think I sound much like them either, because they're good.
That might be the key difference. Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's always there's such a huge number of really good comics working now, and have been for some years, but even a lot of the newer ones. So yeah, it's kind of whatever you like, but those are kind of Hicks and Stanhope are kind of sort of a North Star of sorts.
Awesome.
Chris
awesome.
Rock, I mean, a bunch of them.
Yeah, I'm also a real big fan of Stanhope. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Don't try to do what he does either, by the way.
No, oh, for sure. Yeah,
oh man, I just stepped on landmine after landmine my first few years. Yeah, and I still inch that way when I'm not paying attention. So yeah, sometimes I like to not make friends with an audience, you know.
Not too long. How long has it been? You just got married not too long ago?
Yeah. April. Back in April. So it's been like what, 4 months? Yeah, coming up on 4 months, or no, just past 4 months. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, hearing that just about any comedian has like a stable relationship or anything like that.
Yeah, and this is with another comedian too. Don't try this at home, kids. We are the exception that proves the rule. These things flame out super hard every other time. I cannot believe. Yeah, it is a fortunate and completely. It's not because I figured it out. It just landed in my lap nicely. So I was living damn near in a closet when she found me, and Ed Towns, shout out. And now I have a shirt that I didn't buy secondhand, so it's pretty nice.
You're moving up.
Yeah. I tell you what, credit just keeps climbing.
You said that she was setting some things up.
Actually, we were just talking before this about how, and this has always been the thing, is that in Chicago, comics, like every famous comic did time here, pretty much. And the story is, as soon as they get good, then they fuck off, and you never see him again except on the TV, and you're like, I did an open mic with that guy like 2 years ago. And then they'll come back, and all the people I've known that have gone out to the coast and made it and come back, I can't think of any of them that like it went to their head or anything. I think doing comedy in Chicago long enough, once you do get it, if you do, I feel like that still kind of drags you just a little bit from going into the clouds. So I think going through Chicago's open mics is terrible for your sanity unless you get famous. If you get famous, then it's good for your sanity because it keeps you grounded. But if you don't get famous, you are 6 feet under it.
Yeah, what are the odds of that?
Yeah. So and the reason always was that, like, if you're trying to get on TV, get in the movies, get in any kind of large-scale media, that's L.A. and New York. That's where all the record companies are. It's where all the TV networks are, all of that. And the thing is so that made perfect sense. That's why we were sort of the B market, and they're the A markets. The thing is, in the last 20 years, and gradually, and more so now with first, YouTube and TikTok and getting big on social media, that kind of thing, is that so many times now you can broadcast yourself to whoever needs to see it without being on the coasts. And that has its pros and cons, but mostly pros. And so now that creates a situation, and with LA and New York, especially during the pandemic and then now after, have not recovered terribly well. Because they went pretty draconian with a lot of their stuff, and there were a lot of other decisions made that, frankly, Florida could have done it wrong too. So not really through any kind of like, hey, fuck the coast thing, but they just the place doesn't hold its cultural cachet like it used to, and at least as much. And so now you're looking around, it's like, wait a minute, so like there's not really even that many opportunities on these coasts. I like living here, and there's talent here. And then the people there are like, oh, yeah, well, we could just don't even have to open an office in Chicago. You can just have them send shit, and then you have a small contingent. So there's business. It makes more and more sense for other places to be viable as a hub. Like Atlanta has a film industry. Nashville, of course, has always had a music business. But doing all that and a lot of other smaller city. Austin is I don't know, podcasters and supplements. Big business. Anyway, so my wife, comedian by the name R.L. Julie, she also a comic, phenomenal comic, frankly. You should get her on this. She actually has stuff to say. But she floated the idea to me like last year. She's like, I really want to start a comedy festival here, like to get industry here, because she's a big fan of so many of the comics here. She just had the fundraiser show for it, for this festival, to sort of kick things off. And she had booked Kristen Toomey, Junior Stopka, and Dwayne Kennedy, who are all pros, murderers, and they were all available. Like that's the kind of talent we have in this city. And she's like, I want to see comics like that getting where they should go, but without having to leave Chicago. And because a lot of times, by the time you get any good, sometimes you're like 35, 40, and you don't exactly want to start your life over in a the crawl space in Brooklyn. Like it hurts your back. And so she's like, I want to put together a festival and get real industry to come to the festival, because that's the point. And I told her this is a terrible idea, by the way. I told her, awful idea, and here's why. Of course, I'd had a couple drinks, but I do remember what I said. It was something to the effect of, listen, comedy festivals only happen in shit cities because the city wants to pretend it has a local comedy scene for 4 days. A city with already an actual comedy scene does not need this. Like just what? Send in your clip for $20 and we'll look at it. It's like, mother, you've seen me at open mics for the last 3 weeks. That's my clip. Yeah. But getting the business to make sense. I'm like, babe, you haven't been in this city as long as I have doing comedy. This is not going to work. And then she's like, I see what she's doing. And I'm like, oh, you're like. She's planning for multiple years of it to build the thing. Oh, nice. Sort of, I think it kind of be like the Mitzi Shore of Chicago or something at some point, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, we could use one. For sure. We absolutely could use one. And hey, I'm banging the booker. So it's called the Windy City Comedy Festival. I think it's going to be next August. Cool. Yeah, well, she'll be all over the internet. She's got sponsors and theaters and stuff lined up for it, and some money and backing and stuff. So it's awesome. If it turns out as good as it could, it would be pretty seismic for Chicago here.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, shout it out, and yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a shout out, and again, no credit here. I've seen, the thing is, in years past, comics have tried to build festivals here. There's one of them. Oh God, the World Comedy Expo or something. But the problem was that the team was always so insular. It would be 4 producers of the festival, but all of them just know each other from going to Cole's open mic. So they're booking all of their friends, and a lot of just white hipsters, and that's in that situation. And then there have been other ones where it's just, everybody has big ideas, but it's really boring to do the legwork to make sure everything happens like it's supposed to, or at all. Yep. And those details have to be ironed out. Nobody else is ironing it out for you. Mm-hmm. The universe does not want you to run a comedies festival. Okay, the universe doesn't want you to run a good one. The devil is in the details, and there's a lot of devils. And I've seen it. I've been near it. I just, that's the last thing I ever want to do. Even if I do it well, it's just tedium. I want to tell dick jokes and get paid for it. What happened to that? So keep your eye out for Windy City Comedy Festival next summer in August. It'll be awesome.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Do you feel like you have a message or a philosophy behind your comedy?
I hope not. No, I think about this a lot because I'm 13 years in and I'm doing an interview in a daycare. But a lot of I say, just for the viewer, I tend to touch on some unsavory themes in my jokes and stuff I don't even believe, just because I think it's funny to say. Yeah. And I'll make my point. I do my satire or whatever. So if you're paying attention, I come through. But I've had people get mad at me for oh, Bob, you're a racist. I'm like, what? And then it'll be yeah, that joke. I'm like, that word you said there, what was it? Joke. Let's talk. and so by the end of it 99% of the time comes out copacetic. It's just fine. But sometimes I'll get, not to give you notes, man, but maybe try to put more of your actual opinions into it and make it funny. I'm like, no. I've done that, and I was insufferable. And then every time I think, I'm like, maybe I could try to. I go to another open mic or another showcase or something, and somebody walks up there with their fucking message. You can just do that. You can just go places and tell people what you think. They're called council meetings. Just do that. If you're going to a comedy show, don't think of it as this. I owe it to myself to speak my truth. No, you owe it to the people sitting there to at least keep them from walking out. That's even at an open mic. Come on, man. Like, think about, you owe it to the comics after you because you're never the headliner. Face it. If you got more message than punchlines, I hope you're not a headliner. So there's somebody got to go up after you and inherit this room that you just did to them. Mm-hmm. And that's just rude. It's rude, frankly. It's I would rather get laughs saying something horrendous. And the comic after me also wishes I would do that. Instead of, okay, I'm going to make a stand. It's like, really? In this basement of a bar that you waited 2.5 hours and bought 3 $2 PBRs at? This is where the revolution starts. Get out of, go somewhere and do that somewhere it matters. Because I hope these do-gooder types win. Absolutely.
Yeah,
go change. As soon as I'll know that the world is changing for the better, when my horrible shit that I say ceases to be relatable. All right? You shouldn't make a joke about Israel and Gaza. No, well, you know what? If you can end the war and have everything go pretty well, I'll have no reason to make the joke. No one will know what I'm talking about. What's he talking about? Bombings in Gaza. They've got community gardens now or something. Make it better. But it's not the fault of the person. If I don't talk about it, if nobody talks about anything like untoward, it's still there and it's in the room. If you're imagine thinking, that guy's material is a little too dark when I saw him in Chicago. There's murders 5 blocks that way. Yeah. You're getting on me about what now? Like, I get, like, if you don't like it, you don't like being reminded of it, fine, but I guarantee you the net positive is that at least we're not worried about the elephant in the room. We've all looked at it, kind of take the piss out of it. It's still there, but it's kind of chuckling too. So that's my little firebrand nonsense about it. And I don't, mind you, I sometimes pick at it like, well, I shouldn't have talked about that. It wasn't funny enough, but at least you try. Yeah. But so anyway, message to my comedy is the world doesn't need more laughs. It needs better laughs.
That's good.
Ones that count a little, something that you haven't heard a million times before, that kind of thing. But no, I don't have, no message. No message. I just talk a lot.
Oh, that's good. Good enough. What's been your best experience so far in comedy?
Well, found my wife at an open mic. Yeah, that's the best booking I'm likely to get. Met my wife through comedy and met most of my best friends through comedy. As far as like show wise, I don't know. I've had good shows. I've had horrendous shows that were interesting. I got punched on stage once, twice, 3 times, so those. Those are more fun stories. I killed it for like fucking 300-400 people in Michigan once or whatever, which was like, oh my God, that's awesome. But I got punched at a wine bar in California in my first year doing stand-up, and I was killing. I've never gotten punched while bombing. It's the weirdest thing. It's like they're mad everybody else gets the jokes. But there's no crowning achievement or anything, other than met my wife doing stand-up, for sure, and she keeps me laughing all the time. She's a good bit funnier. Well, she's definitely more palatable than me, but is also ruinously. Yeah, she's funnier than me. She's real funny and way too good looking for me. So crowning achievement in comedy. I'm Rich Voss out here.
Well, you were also on the Comedy Central roast battle.
Not Comedy Central. The roast battle. Yeah, just roast battle Chicago, but it's part of like the whole league of like LA and all of that. I don't produce it or anything, but I've been on it a bunch of times, and I've got my own opinions about just that and sort of short form stuff like that, or Kill Tony or something. Roast battle's a great writing tool, and and it's good, but like it can, with how many eyes are on it now, some people like seem like they just want to do that, and I like a lot of us that do it are like, guys, you're still supposed to be like I've never seen this person on any other show but Roast Battle, that kind of thing. And you're just kind of like, okay, like I'll still do it. It's fun, and I don't make good film of any of my sets. I'm terrible at self-promotion, so it works for me on that level, and I honestly enjoy it. I at this point I just roast battle. I'll pick and choose. Just like I'm not trying to do like the March tournament or anything like some brand new, I don't know anybody kind of thing. You want to roast people, just to make it a good show. But I think it's important to maintain a comedy life outside of that, just to grow and get better, or else you can stagnate pretty quick. But yeah, I've done that show probably 15 times or something. I'm actually doing it again in September.
Oh, nice.
It'll be a lot of fun. Guy I know from California, Tom Goss. So yeah, roast battle's great fun, great fun, and anybody who thinks somebody's going to be a star off of that, well, okay, but I hope you have an act to back up your newfound success, because you're going to be doing 45 minutes in a theater. Are you going to go out there and just eat it because you've never done more than 10 minutes because you got big off of a roast battle? Like, careful what you wish for. And then that creates better roast battles anyway. If you have comics that are better, working to get better outside of roasting, you bring it back to roast battle in your writing, and it shows. So roast battle is great for that.
Yeah, that's true. Where do you feel you want to end up in comedy?
I've thought less and less about it, honestly, because I don't even know. Whatever I would imagine, like whatever career I would imagine right now, is that even going to be an avenue in 5 years? Because the everything's changing so quickly. Like when I started out, I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do. I just wanted to be funny. And then after like maybe a year, I'm seeing like, Doug Stanhope's kind of position in the world where he's not all over TV, but he built a very cult following, and now he can go all around the country and just make money.
Yeah, he has his fans.
Yeah, he has his fans, and he's able to really indulge in what he wants to do, like real long form, really intelligent, but with a drunken drawl kind of thing, and get real weird with it. And he knows he's got a crowd for that. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. I'll just be a road, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm looking at, there's no way Stanhope would, if he had started when I started, and tried to do the same things he did to get where he is. He's got like a compound in Arizona someplace. He just hangs out with weirdos. And sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
And so, but he never would have even gotten that far, because it's way harder to get that man show fuck you money now, because there is not that anymore, because a million people are watching YouTubers or Twitch streamers, and so building it like that, like I envisioned, really isn't a thing unless you also content creation and, hey, try to go viral, and what's the new dance on TikTok, and let's do some crowd work. I don't know who gets into comedy because they think the audience is interesting. No, you're the interesting one. Talk to them. And so anyway, as far as where I want to be, like how much money would I like to make a year doing this? I don't know, $70,000. It's unlikely. I mean, but the thing is, I'll keep, buying my lotto ticket and go to the small time shows and see if, hey, if we get some real industry into Chicago, Windy City Chicago Comedy Festival, maybe the booker for whoever, Conan, or he's not on the air anymore. I'm old. I'm not sure if you guys noticed. I'm in my 40s. I remember. But yeah, so if that's another reason that it's good to get industry in. But yeah, long story short, I want to keep doing comedy when I want to, and I want to feel free to not do comedy when I'm not feeling it. Going to less open mics or whatever. If I'm just not it's a public meditation for me now. Like I'm trying to entertain people, but like I'm doing that because it's the thing I do, and it's the thing I don't even always enjoy doing it, but I do it. It's what I do. Before that it was playing playing in bands, and this is way more rewarding because neither one has made me much money. So that being equal, this is so much more fulfilling. I meet more interesting people. I have better stories because I'm hanging out with more interesting people. I have a day job, and you could not pay me, and they've tried to hang out with them outside of work. And I'm like, guys, you don't get it. Like, you're very nice people. I'm good. I enjoy the company picnic. You will be happy I'm not there because I will bring a flask and I will make it a problem. I'm doing blow with the CEO and then I'll lose my job. All right. I'm not coming to. Yeah. So yeah, I love that about comedy. And yeah, I do it. My goal is to keep doing it as long as it feels like it's what I do.
Great.
And then, somebody wants to throw some money at me for it. I'm all for that. I'm not. I will sell out, thankfully.
Nice. Do you? Would you have a piece of advice for your younger self?
Don't. I met my younger self. I was like, okay, good move, giving up the music. But here's the thing: don't go to that comedy club. Learn to code or something. Yeah, no, I don't care to change any of my life. Cause I don't know. Yeah, there's a million. I know I'm from like the suburbs out there, and I know I'm aware of a bunch of people I like went to high school with and all that, and sort of how their life is going, kids, degree, credit score, house, all of that. And it just doesn't. I'm not saying they're not happy. They're probably very happy, and I'm happy for them. That would not make me happy.
Yeah, it's not for you.
Yeah, like the only advice I would give is like do your homework and get to college and make it happen so you don't have to borrow a few grand from your parents when you're in your 30s. Like, but then like, would that be my life then? Like, because now I'm doing better and still. Did it my way.
Yep.
And so, it's pointless to even kind of seriously entertain here's my letter to my younger self. Shut up. You're not here without your younger self, okay? Those mistakes made you so you could, what, if you're going to tell them not to make those mistakes? Well, then they won't end up being as cool as you, man. Sure. Your mistakes are what you learn from. Yeah. And frankly, I can't wait to make more.
Yeah, that's great. We're rolling on 30 minutes here. Can we get one of your jokes to get people a little bit of your style?
Follow me at @TheBobKeen. I've got the stuff I care for you to see in the context it belongs in. I got a few reels up and some funny stuff over there. But yeah, doing it in this context, I would. By the way, I'm high off my tits, so like I am not gonna really do my material justice. Just check out my stuff online. It's
right.
Frankly probably not even my best stuff because I don't record enough. But yeah, you can, I don't know. I hope you enjoy hearing about Jeffrey Dahmer under seasoning black people. That's kind of a little hint. So.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, you said where we can find you at?
Yeah, at @TheBobKeen, BOBKEEN, on Instagram, TikTok. Technically, I think I have some things on there. I haven't updated that much. But yeah, I don't do Twitter because I'm married to a Jewish girl. I hear enough about Nazis.
All right, man. Well, with that, we'll wrap things up. So thank you so much for coming out, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and that's the end of that. Here we go.